episode, Murder by the Numbers.
Hey, did you know that you could help support our future projects and let everyone know you're a fan of what we do? Check out our print-on-demand store. We have a tab here on YouTube. When you click on it, you can choose from a bunch of different items. We have shirts and posters and coffee mugs. Click on the one you like. When you find the design you want to put on it, choose a color and a size if it's appropriate. And when you purchase these items, a portion goes to help fund our future projects. We really do appreciate your support. You get some cool stuff. When you get that stuff, post pictures here and on other platforms, and we'll hook you up next time you order from our Gear website store. Thank you for your support of gunwebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
That ends abruptly. I'm not used to that. Welcome, everybody, to our weekend Instagram wrap-up. Each weekend, we go live on Sundays for, let's just say, an hour, even though it's sometimes a little bit longer than that. And we look back at the posts on Instagram that were focused on the Second Amendment. We do this live on YouTube so that we can kind of cross the platforms. We can cross the audiences a little bit, make people aware of what's happening on the other side, give them a little bit different perspective, perhaps, and hopefully offer some stuff that's outside of your wheelhouse, outside your spectrum, so that you're getting a bigger experience than we might get just looking at one platform or the other. With that in mind, we do it live. So thanks to the people that show up live. Mike White was first one to show up, saying good afternoon, my freedom-loving friends. Then Smeggy showed up, both of these folks out of California, saying hello to everybody. Smeggy looks like he's both on the Twitter and on the YouTube. So we're blasting this out on YouTube, but also over on Twitter. You know what? I want to keep saying Twitter. It's over on Twitch because they both have T's in them probably. So we'll put the Twitch link out here, which I probably should just put in the description of the video. I don't know why I don't. What we're going to be looking at is Instagram. And this right now we're looking at our Instagram. This is the kind of stuff we post over there. I like to think of it as a gun eclectic, right? It's sort of like the stuff you'd find at a gun show, representative of just, well, not quite the entire community, but a vast spectrum of the community, everything I'm interested in. Instead, we're going to be looking at stuff that was posted on Instagram by the people that we follow. I guess up here somewhere it'll show that I follow 911 people on this account. So that means that it's almost 1,000 different people potentially posting stuff on Instagram. And as you can see here, some of the stuff I put a little heart next to, some of it I just look at, some of it I don't put anything on, some of it I put the little chevron thing. The way this works is this is Mike Pannone here in Tucson. This guy's a firearms instructor and has a very reputable resume, let's put it that way. So if I were to put a star or a heart here, it's saying thanks. And everybody can see here with this number how many people have hearted it, how many people have liked it. You can use this little speech bubble, and that's the equivalent of writing a comment down here. And that comment can be read. But there's 3 comments on this one. 155 people clicked the heart. 3 people took the time to write a comment. Then you got this paper airplane. That throws it up to the top of the screen to what I call the circles. So some people post Instagram like this as pictures and stuff. Other people post Instagram as these temporary 24-hour videos. So this is I'm gonna pause it. This is a 15-second video of a picture, of a post, of a screenshot. Yeah, that's happening on Instagram. So things get shared, things get added to and collaborated on, and something starts as a catalyst and grows like the center of a piece of sand and a pearl. And that's the way social kind of works there. So that to get into that whole realm up there, which we don't really look at too much on this show, you use that little arrow thing. Now, I can't do it here and demonstrate it because you really can only do that on a phone. Instagram is designed to be used on a phone. It lets us look at it on a computer, but it really only lets you use it on a phone. And then lastly is this little, I call it a little ribbon thing. And that puts it into one of your collections. As you can see, I have a lot of collections. I put collections up for things that I find interesting. And a lot of this is just to sort my own pictures out. Most of this is my own pictures, just so that when I'm going to repost or apply a picture to something, I can find it a lot easier. This is one of the reasons I like Instagram compared to some of the other projects out there. If I wanted to go find one of my Kalashnikov pictures, I can open up my own. Oh, I think I just added this to my Kalashnikov mix, but you know what I mean. I could go up to the top here, go to my own saved stuff, find that Kalashnikov folder. Well, let's go to this ammo folder. That'll be just as interesting. And this is a bunch of ammo pictures of mine that I've tagged so I can find them easier. So it's, quicker for me if I had a conversation about 762 by 25. I remember I posted this picture once. I can go grab it. So I find Instagram useful for that kind of stuff. But what we're going to be looking at in this video is the stuff that we saved from other people. And I put that in this first one called All Posts. And I like other people's stuff so much, every weekend we go live for an hour or so and talk about their stuff. And that's what we're really doing here. So I've given you a little introduction to the concept. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, which we talked about earlier, were bad for you, I guess. All right, so we're going to go down and scroll down to about where we were a week ago, which I don't remember where that was. So I'm trying to find, did we talk about the box of polymer stuff? That was 6 days ago, so not quite a week ago. 6 days ago still. So Rick Ector's event was last weekend. We do this show on Sunday. Most everybody was at his event until Sunday, so they probably just started posting stuff on Monday. So let's go in. It says July 29th. We'll take that as approximately, oh, that's a little bit more than a week ago. All right, so this is Smeggy right here. Smeggy, who was posting on his Instagram to let people know to call to be their Congress people and let them know your opinion on HR 1808, which is, as far as I know, has not yet been named in the Senate. But we can still call and tell them our opinion on it. We don't have to wait for them to come up with a name. I think I remember looking at this. This is the classroom from Cape Gunworks, and we remember looking at that bear. So I guess we did look at these last week. This one says, when the comments are full and trust the Senate after they sold us out twice in the last 3 weeks with the confirmation of Diddleberger as the ATF, whatever, head of the ATF, and then, of course, the Republican gun control bill, or the gun control, period. They already signed that in. That exists. 18-year-olds can't own guns anymore. That happened this year in the last couple of weeks through the Senate, that we're all depending to not do an assault weapons ban. Then we have NASA's birthday. I think we talked about that last week also. This awesome picture of Bannerman. Okay, great. We talked about these things last week, but how can you not appreciate this picture of Bannerman? One time, this guy who started out being a 7-year-old coming to this country from Scotland. So came from, understand, near some kind of river. So he's used to the river. They would throw a hook out into the river and grab thrown out pieces of rope that the boats would leave over. I guess they'd throw out rope every once in a while. And this kid would grab the rope. He would sell that rope to people making paper out of it. And he started making money. He would take that money and buy surplus stuff at pennies on the dollar and sell it for either its use or for its material costs. And he just did that and did that again and kept doing that until he was the head of his household as a youngin'. And then he created more and more businesses until He purchased most of the surplus from the Spanish-American War on both sides of the Spanish-American War and brought all of that stuff to New York City. And that's when New York City was like, we don't want all the ordnance from the Spanish-American War in the middle of the city. So then he had to make an island. Well, he didn't make the island. Technically, he bought the island off some rich lady who was sick of prostitutes using it. So he bought it, started putting all his stuff from his loot from buying all this surplus and having this crazy catalog that he would sell it all in. And he decided to buy his own island and then put a warehouse on it and then turn that warehouse into a cool looking castle. Super cool. That's the world we live in, and that's a cool picture of it. All right, then we have AZ Firearms Auctions or Pot of Gold Auctions. It has a bunch of ammo auctions coming up, and this was them explaining some of the auction stuff. Stay tuned for that on Tuesday. This is Jera from Texas saying normalize teaching people instead of belittling them. I think I did talk about this one also last week. I think that's a good one. This one's supposed to be funny or whatever, but I would leave it just that front part. Let's normalize teaching people instead of being satisfied with belittling them. Feels good to belittle somebody, especially when they're not even paying attention. You know, in front of a bunch of people are like, oh, wow, that's awesome. You belittled them. Great this time. This time when you belittled them, it was so much better than the last time you belittled them. Of course, you didn't belittle them in front of them. You belittled them to your friends or whatever, but we're satisfied with that. And that's nothing to be satisfied with. In fact, if we were educating, like we're offended that you would marginalize gun owners and suggest that we have anything to do with the criminal element. Let's educate people against that so that they can never use that against us again. That's so much more effective use of time. So then we get gun policy. I'm just going to call them gun policy from now on, even though they're actually FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition. For whatever reason, they decided to make a weird Instagram channel and then lean into it. If H.R. 1808 is enacted, FPC law will swiftly and aggressively take all actions necessary to fight and enjoin the bill. Oh, I'm pretty sure I said something like good. I wasn't sure. Because what the hell? Then we get oh yeah, I think we did look at this one last week also. The guys from Phoenix were bragging about bringing their bulldog to the office, which I don't think anybody has a problem with. DC Project at Rick Decter's. So this is a cool gun shop. There's 2 gun shops that Rick had his event at. Instructors showed up and did their pre-meetings and orientations and stuff, and then everybody showed up for both mornings at each location. And then, as you can see, tons of ladies. I don't know how many ladies. Oh, he's probably not a good thing to say tons of ladies. Many ladies showed up to get instruction. And you can see a bunch of line of ladies there at the one, and they don't really show you a line at the other one. The other one's got more of like a parking lot, so maybe they wrapped around the building or something. But this is sort of a slideshow showing a bunch of different snapshots from the event, as opposed to like staged media photos or anything like that. So first off, is that telling us that they didn't bring, with all the media? Well, I mean, are these media? These are people that bring pictures and take snapshots. So are they media? I don't know. So we're definitely dealing with grassroots. There's nobody showing up here who's like, you know what we need? 4K cameras on tripods, good mics, and people who understand how to point a camera to make it look super awesome. Nobody gathered these ladies together in a group to take photo opportunities or make opportunities out of the situation. Everybody was here to train ladies. So that's an indication of the authenticity of this side versus the exploitation drive of some groups. But it's frustrating because it is stuff left on the table. It's money left on the table. But this is, again, it's an effort of a bunch of ladies who are from the DC Project to wear their shirts to show some unity and show some camaraderie, I guess, especially at a group like this one where you've got lots and lots of people showing up. Obviously there's the rallies that we think about often wearing same shirts, but in this case, it's a great thing. Like going to SHOT Show is another time when everybody wearing their teal shirts get lost in the crowd, but also you see them in the crowd. You can see how many of them are wearing the teal kind of thing. So awesome. Now, if you're a t-shirt place, I'm not saying shame on you. You lost an opportunity to give something like thousands of ladies a shirt and to help spread the word. But there's definitely that opportunity next year. Rick needs a bunch of instructors, but he also can use as much stuff as you can give him if you're in the industry. Go get on board with something valid. Keep in mind this happened in a week when no one paid attention to it except for trivially after the fact. After they were sure it was successful and everybody was smiling, they showed up pictures. Think how many people promoted this ahead of time. You're allowed to be aware of that, and you're allowed to remember that, and you're allowed to expect more, especially from national level organizations. And individuals. Let's talk about the individuals' obligations. I don't want to bitch about national level organizations all the time. They have the most resources to devote to this because they can easily send somebody out on one of these tasks or a group of people on one of these tasks. But there's some individuals that run groups of people and that have resources available to them that squander that or don't use them effectively at all. So this is interesting. This is from Ashley Blinsky, who is at the time ran the museum that sucks the museum in Cody, Wyoming, that sucks, and showing like what it looked like on her computer and then what it looked like in real life. So that's kind of interesting. Not too many people get to draw something out on a computer and then have the actual thing happen in real life in front of everybody. So some people would say that's not very many guns on the wall for a museum that has the most number of guns and has access to the Smithsonian's collections and stuff. That's a lot of wasted space. And then other people would say, ooh, that's such an effective visual aid and blah, blah, blah. Like it's getting information across. Some people would say people that go to a firearms museum don't need to be educated on the basics of firearms. Other people say, oh, this is to experience the people that show up for the art and they go to Cody, Wyoming for some other reason than the guns. And this is, oh, you went to Cody, Wyoming for Western culture, indigenous art and culture, and then pop culture of the Wild West. But you didn't know about guns. That happens, I'm sure, a lot. International? Okay, maybe. International, I'll give you. Millions of visitors to Yellowstone. Okay, so there's that. Are we satisfied? Are we going to settle? I'm certainly not. But anyway, it's interesting to see this slice of behind the scenes. And then I never got to see the museum. Remember, when I went to the museum, this was all under construction and I paid full admission to go in and not get to see any of this. So I'm not bitter about that. I'm bitter for other reasons. The museum sucks, but that added like a poop icing to the top of the reasons I don't like that museum. I like all the other museums a lot. I hate that museum a lot. Then we get to Utah Shooters. This is an organization up in Utah that's valid. All these are interesting stuff. This is an old-fashioned American Rifleman. I might have one of these because I bought a whole bunch of them for another article, and I kind of remember this. So if somebody wants one of these, I might have one. This is an article that says Ar15 Procurement. If you're looking for something to talk about that's interesting, this is a piece of 1963 insight to the M16/AR15. So before all the internet and before all the rails and before all the modular this and before all the stances and the grip angles, there was the AR-15, the plastic made thing is now available on the market in 1963. 19,000 of them going to the Air Force for $13 million in 1963. Imagine the outrage. Imagine the frustration, angst, and stress that caused looking at that article. That's the equivalent of a YouTube video that's sensationalistic back in the day. So Utah Shooters bringing that to light. That's interesting. Gun policy, posting some person saying a bullet from an AR-15 war weapon can travel nearly triple the speed of sound. It liquefies tissue and whatever. So basically an ignorant propaganda piece. You can tell because it's written in July 29th. So after they see the uproar of reactions and anticipated, once they see the anticipated results to the anticipated reaction to their wording at the public testimonies weeks ago, you see them doubling down on this, what's the word, distracting, intentional jargon. So come on, man. You're going to spend 2 weeks getting hung up on people that go to school to learn how to hang us up. You're going to get hung up by those people. That's losing the war to them. They own when they confuse and demoralize and waste everybody's time. Think about all the time spent complaining about AR-15 war weapon. You're allowed to get upset about it a couple of times. But as a group, we are obligated to no longer be upset about the barking dogs. As an individual, the first time in your face, yeah, get upset, pee your pants, hate dogs, figure it out. Then guess what? Figure out the dog has got its own things going on, and you can figure that out super easy because dogs are awesome. And then you don't get all upset about the dog no more. Now you as an individual who's like noctified to the dogs can go back to the group and be like, yeah, we don't got to worry about every dog. You got to worry about the dogs that are off the chain. You got to worry about the dogs that have already bit people. You don't got to worry about every dog. And this is just another dog. This is a little yappy dog that just wants to go outside. Just let him go outside. Don't let him back in. All right. So Tony posted this thing. No amount of shaming will stop me from wanting to own effective and efficient tools to defend my family, especially when they're the same tools used by the police because they're effective and efficient. I'm pretty sure Tony's raging about a couple of things on this. I know the vet bros, which is the veteran dude bros, who one of the vet bros was saying that civilians shouldn't run around, especially fat civilians shouldn't run around in armor doing whatever. And people are allowed to have whatever opinion they want, but then it's going to piss off people that have differing opinions, right? So I'm pretty sure that's why Tony was posting this one. I don't know if this was an original or a repost from that. I don't keep up with all the gossip, but that was some of that kind of gossip thing. Oh, I didn't even pay attention to the chats over here, so let me start doing that. Once channels get somewhat of a following, they can start doing some fun stuff. You're not allowed to do anything fun. Good evening, good afternoon for everybody who's showing up live. I do appreciate the live comments, and we have a pretty decent group of people that show up and contribute instead of just expecting or watching for the weird stuff or the fights or the arguments and that kind of stuff. So I appreciate everybody that shows up. The only thing Smeggy's saying the only thing I don't like about the Twitch is if you leave a stream and come back, you can't see the old chat. There's lots of things about the Twitch I don't like, but it's better than the Rumble. And then the other one, which I've only experienced a couple of times, Odyssey Live. I've only seen Odyssey Live, I think, a couple of times. Is that or is I think on a Rumble? But anyway, there's and they were complaining about GunTube Live in the in Gizzard's chat, I think, earlier. But here's a dirty little secret. The reason there's not a zillion live chat services is because it's not that easy. These Canadians are doing it pretty good with the Snooty Duck. We're paying good money for it, though. It's $25 a month. It's not free. So thanks again to our Patreons that make it possible for us to just casually spend $25 a month on Canadian software. But they're about the only ones doing it in a good interface that I've liked. There's some other stuff that's super technical that I don't know what country it's from. And then there's YouTube, which is kind of clunky. Wait, do they even have one anymore? I think they do have one, but nobody uses it. And then, but GunTube, he's doing that thing like for real. Like this is AAA. What Night Strike is doing is teaching you how to change your own spare tire. So you have to know how to get in the trunk and change your own spare tire, but you're completely free on Night Strikes on the GunTube system. So none of these streams are easy, and you sacrifice tools for ease, and this snooty Canadian version does a pretty good job, but I'd go to GunTube in a second if we didn't have this option, because GunTube is the best for security and the best for functionality. It's just that nobody's using his tube enough, so nobody's getting familiar with the tube, but everybody's familiar with this stupid thing. This thing's clunky and got some issues. It's just that everybody's familiar with it now. And then, of course, there's the Zoom, which you shouldn't be using. All their servers are in China. They're probably recording everything you're saying, to incorporate your voices into AIs. I'm not saying that there's already multiple AIs of everybody who's used Zoom in China, but I've read science fiction books that allude to the fact that there could be. So I'm just saying. Rick posted 1 million photos this week. I don't know what that means. Which Rick? And then everybody's just now saying hello to each other, even though I just said nobody was going to say hello to each other here. All right, so if guns are so bad, why do they have to lie about them all the time? Interesting. There's a bunch of good ones like that I don't know how effective they are on other people, but it'd be interesting to see how effective they would be on antis. But I think that they're good for snapping reality into people who are on our side that may be thinking the same thing. Like, guns might be bad. And then wait a minute. Why are they addressing them constantly? And how come the ATF deals with hundreds of thousands of alcohol deaths each year and 500,000 tobacco deaths every year, barely 11,000 gun deaths? Why is that attention out there? So I think those kind of things can snap people into that. There's that one, and then I think that one, why do they have to lie about them, is kind of similar to if there's 94 million of them, or whatever the number is, or 9.4 million, whatever the number is, then are they really a problem? That kind of thing. Yep. Mike posted a picture of an update in the door slash sprinkle. My work uses Zoom to do it. See, that's what I get you. Why did my thing click? You see, that's not, there it goes. Oh, I'm losing my internet again. All right, well, this is the middle of the show, I guess. I don't think I've got a very long one today. There wasn't that much stuff on Instagram. I've been doing some other stuff. I was talking about Rick showing a bunch of pictures from his event, lots of group photos and selfies. Oh, yeah, no, that's a great point. Rick did a great job of documenting it, actually. He's older than me on the internet. I mean, come on, he knows how to do it. And he's been more successful than a lot of people over time. He hasn't been the most successful the entire time because no one has. Rick's still here, and he's in his 11th year of an increasingly larger project to bring instructors and firearms people together, and he puts a massive media effort into it, so tons of people are aware of this project in the real world, not like in the gun community. So yeah, Rick is a master. However, he just doesn't, he's out there on multiple platforms, on the TV, writing stuff, talking to writers and radio people. So he's all over the spectrum. He can't be expected to master the YouTube or the Instagram, but holy crap, he could have help, right? There could be people to lean into it with their expertise for sure. He'll get them, or maybe they won't. Let's see, then got Woods jumping in too. Good evening. All right, so this is that same thing, and then this is Jera's response to that guy. So you're going to find different people responding in different ways. I'm going to keep saying the same thing. We can't be satisfied with ahas and gotchas. That's the mechanism. If we're satisfied with little tiny victories, then that's potentially ignoring the dogs along the way, but it's like stopping for lemonade every time there's a lemonade stand. You're also never going to get where you're going. Like, eat an ice cream before you go. Tell yourself you're going to have a big glass of lemonade when you get there. Get the travel done. Let's get the effort out of the way. Everybody's like, oh, let's stop and say thanks. Let's stop and giggle about this. Let's take this as a win. This is a distraction at best. This is probably a problem. You could look at this devil's advocate that this could be a real serious issue. Plus, it's justifying buybacks. We're not supposed, we don't have to be in lockstep, but I don't think we'd want to condone buybacks just because we can make money on them. You really think the best way to make money is to throw tons of government money into the government and get a trickle out to a few people? It's ridiculous. So we shouldn't be doing anything more than ridiculing them. Speaking of that, I have a serious thing to talk about now. This was portrayed in the 1980s in a television show, a documentary, so to speak, called Magnum Pi. And this is a situation that often gets overlooked in the world we live in with monkey attacks and people's attention on other critters. So this is a great time to talk about this potential situation. I want to let people know if you're a person who is a fan of helicopters and you don't like trauma, and also if you like birds, you don't want to watch this. I'm going to get copyrighted for that, but it's worth it. So, as someone who survived parrot attacks and didn't have a helicopter, friend with a helicopter nearby to help me, I'd like to apologize for anybody who may have had to deal with the trauma of a parrot attack in the past. Luckily, Magnum Pi was there to let everybody know about our plights and what happens. A lot of times when you shoot a 1911, that'll happen because of the parrot's instinctual fear of a correct grip angle. That was Magnum Pi, for real. That actually happened on a Magnum Pi. All right, then we got the DC project saying Chicago gets all its guns from, it should just say Indy and then slap. There isn't the same amount of crime. Why isn't there the same amount of crime in Indiana? This is pretty good. I don't know. What do you think? It's pretty good. And it's, I don't know, it's coming from the DC project. You don't see them memeing very often. So that's pretty good. Another picture from, well, a picture from Rick. I should say not another, because I think it's Meggie or what just was mentioning it. Let's open up Rick's page in a separate window. And let's, if you think we're kidding about posting a lot of pictures, this is Rick's posts from just this week. I think it's a little creepy when the ladies stand in front of their target, but that's just me, maybe. But he did a great job at documenting. Now, it'd be awesome for somebody to work with them and turn this into something like beyond a slideshow or whatever, narrate and offer some clips from the different after actions. We know that a couple of different people who were instructors have some kind of social presence, and they posted after it. Maybe some of them, just very few of them, posted lead ups to it, and to give those folks recognition for helping get the word out about it pre-event. And then again, kind of just to wrap up and document how big an event it's getting to be. And you got more and more people on phones. It's pretty neat. Just as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, I wonder if the socials care or pay attention when something like that happens and gets networked. But I guess that's a chat for another conversation. Let's see. So then we've got, the bird was asking for it. I agree. I have a big bird like that. They will mess you up. Yeah, exactly. Even a 1911 is not necessarily going to help you. Oh, come on, man. First off, Higgins is able to make the noise that makes a parrot fly into a helicopter. So I don't know if I've ever seen what's his face do that. And how would not Magnum know? You know what I mean? So some DC rat bought the Magnum house. Oh, really? Are you kidding me? Son of a gun. The best part about the Magnum Pi house is that part where he goes out swimming, right? I don't really care about the house so much, but I would have kept, if you're going to have a house in Hawaii, why wouldn't you want a cool 70s pad? Like, that would be cool. What are you going to have, some new modern glass thing in Hawaii? They can take off a finger. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I got bit by one time. I don't like them. I'd rather have a monkey any day than a bird. So then we've got Rick saying that he got a signed copy of Eric Pratt's book when he was there. So Gun Owners of America was there. Then you got Style Tactical doing a girl post. So just like to show people because you don't have to watch the girl stuff. They go around acting like catalogs or whatever, like girls like to look at. And then, oh, there's guns in there too. They're normalized. So there's people out there normalizing them. Then you've got Project Appleseed, I guess, having optics available for centerfire rifles. They've assembled several Vortex packages. So I'm guessing some kind of a deal made with the manufacturer or some kind of distributor so that they can offer them. I don't know if they're branded, but I'm sure to raise funds for their project. Project Appleseed educates youngins to citizenship and marksmanship and civic. I think they do projects and stuff as well, like service projects and things like that. So pretty decent organization. However, Reeves Raiders was invented a couple years after, so they might not be that perfect because it spun off another organization to champion other aspects or focus on, maybe reprioritize the aspects or something. So now we got Foss posting that Every Second Matters. Not that many people posted Every Second Matters this week or this month, so thanks for doing it, keeping the concept alive of focusing on what our Second Amendment protects in some way on the second day of each month. This is, I don't think this is your new build. This is a build sitting in a R&L Displays handmade rifle display made out of fancy hardwoods by artisans in New York City and available for purchase at rnldisplays.com, I believe. If DJ was out there, he would put a link out there. And then some kind of a dagger for some reason. And then the magazine next to it. Pretty cool. I don't know. Some kind of, is this that thing you got behind you sometimes? Now I get it. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to do some imagery there. Came out pretty good with the light, like lighting behind it to pop it out from the background. A little bit of a shadow so you know it's a background. Pretty good. Get a monkey and the next thing you know, Dr. Zayas. I don't know. I don't think there's anything bad. Here, you got to deal with all the monster garbage, which is all fake. And then you got the real life issues like robots and AI and monkeys. Would you rather have a monkey or an AI or a robot? Come on, man. I want a mammal. That's all I'm saying. I think we got the mammal thing. And if it's you against a bunch of robots and there's this monkey, is the monkey going to turn on you? Why would the monkey turn on you? It makes no sense. I'm pretty sure we're cool with monkeys once we're fighting robots and aliens, right? For being realistic, we got to worry about aliens at some point. Sure, the aliens might be robots, but still, I'd rather have a monkey on my side any day over one of them other things. CG or Cape Gunworks, imagine they must have got this from somebody unless they have a secret vault they keep this. I don't know if this is retro or not, but it seems like a lot of Korban. So do they still make Korban? I don't know. It says Blast from the Past. I used to have some, but I've never carried it. It's too expensive for me. Come on, man. AI monkey robots? We've got years before that's an issue. Hopefully we'll make friends with one of the three of them before that happens. So I learned this week. I'm a big fan of museums, except for the one. The Los Angeles Police Museum is pretty awesome. And they have, I was impressed when I went to the museum. I've been more and more impressed over the years as I followed their Instagram. The same way that their museum is fresh and different and awesome compared to most of actually all the other gun museums. They stand alone in being a interesting museum to go around in because of it's an old police station and there's so much old cool stuff and you can just touch it and fiddle with it. And the displays are kind of incorporated in an interesting way. So you walk around and they're so different and useful. And it's not like they're trying to prove nothing. They don't have a million guns. So it's not like anybody's mad that they're only showing you 2 out of a million guns and that they're wasting an entire building to show you like 4 out of their giant collection because they're trying to be fancy. Instead, they only got a couple of guns and they're showing you all of them. And the helicopter, and it's the helicopter. I didn't even know it's the helicopter from what's his face driving around in that truck that one year. That's the helicopter that's behind the building. So the helicopter that was following what's his face, I think I've sat in that helicopter, if I'm correct, and that's what it is. But anyway, there's all kinds of cool stuff there. Police cars you can go up and look at and touch them and look in the window and stuff from back in the old days all the way to now. It's an awesome museum. And I think it was $20 or something. It wasn't even all that expensive. And it's right in the middle of LA. It's at the bottom of where Terminator came to the future or to the past or whatever happened. It's right down at the bottom of that hill, kind of. So anyhow, they also have an academy. So we all know about Police Academy, and it's all near and dear to our hearts. And I don't remember the movie that much anymore because I didn't like it that much. I did back in the day when I was a little kid. But remember Police Academy? Well, there is a Police Academy. It turns out that movie's not fake, that there is really a Police Academy. And look at this. They have a cafe that's open to the public. And it was established in the 50s, I guess. And I don't know. I guess the prices are about okay. But from what I'm told from looking at this and the comments and stuff, that it's a good restaurant. So I didn't even know that was a thing. So I looked it up and it's not at the same place. So you have to go somewhere different, but it gets you to the LA Police Academy. So that'd be pretty cool because that's where they film SWAT and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty neat. I learned that this week. So I have a place where I'm going to go eat lunch, probably at some point when I'm in Los Angeles again. Krabby Turtle, who may or may not be out here right now still. Is he out here? Oh, maybe he's not out here. Mm-hmm. So what's Krabby Turtle up to today? Well, he is posting over on Instagram on Every Second Matters. Thanks for that. Oh, I just noticed now that he had framed off the second with the patches. That's like 3 levels of Every Second Matters. Very nice. Oh, there's a gun in the picture. That's another level. Psych. All right, so then Ozzy also posting Every Second Matters with a bunch of coinage. And I wonder who made that holster. Then Pets for Vets. Everyone has the power to heal through listening. Many of our veterans report healing just from talking with their dogs, as they have unconditional love and just listen. If they're a good dog, not this dog. And then there's this weird picture, kind of a cartoony looking thing of some kind of dream or something. And then it says the most powerful way to heal someone is to listen. Don't think or judge, just listen. People start to heal the moment they feel heard. You can't be a healer if you refuse to step outside of your own emotions and view things entirely from the perspective of the other person. So I just figure that's good stuff. Obviously, it's obvious, but every once in a while to say stuff that's obvious is, a break and a reminder. But in this case, I think it applies to the stuff that we always focus on, attempt to focus on as regularly as some of the people that we follow that keep a consistent focus on mental health awareness. The idea that the brain being a muscle or a organ can be injured or can be stressed and can be ill, can be malnourished, and can, when it's in those states, can't be depended on to be leaned on or given its best effort or energy, right? You got to give some things time to heal, and you got to give them the resources to heal. So anyway, I think that's interesting, and through this kind of perspective of a critter or a puppy, I guess other animals also listen to people. Thought it was pretty cool. So they're not coordinated, but sometimes things line up, and sometimes things are on the same track. In this case, it didn't line itself directly with anything, but it's kind of on the same path. Plus, I really like to promote Pets for Vets. There's Yankees always talking about Pets for Vets, but it's not the same thing. This is just some lady, I'm pretty sure, who, and maybe it's a group of ladies, I don't know, but it's just some people who are creating, well, here, let's go take a look at it. They're bringing pets and vets together, right? Building bridges, as they say. Connecting military veterans with rescued animals. Pets for Vets helps create second chances and new beginnings with over 600 successful matches and counting. So it's more of a general, it's not like it's just for like working dogs, and it's not just for specific veterans, and it's not just for this or that. So it's kind of a general, but I'm assuming it's a couple of people involved, but their Instagram is very light and very fun. So I really like it. Let's see. I still need to get to the LA Police Museum. I think you'll enjoy it. It's really cool. The enemy of my enemy is my friend until it starts flinging poopy. Oh, I see what you're saying. Man, come on, man. The other, I don't know. So Then we've got a couple of more pictures of Rick. I didn't want to put I couldn't post every picture of Rick, so I just threw a couple up to be kind of a representative. He's got people that sounds like they show up year after year. So, I mean, I can't even know, but he's got all these different pictures with different people who I'm sure he's got different levels of like relationships with, where, you know, maybe she's been back many years and she's proud of her, you know, group getting smaller, or this is some kind of, maybe some people, it sounds like, show up and just experience it the first year, and then maybe the next year, since they know it's a regular thing, they come back when they feel more comfortable and competent, maybe with friends, and then they pull the trigger. So I don't know what the backstories might be, but lots and lots of people. And bringing those people together, they go home and talk to daughters, sons, husbands, parents, people at church, work, and school. What did you do this weekend? Oh, I was with thousands of other ladies and dozens of instructors, safely getting orientation to firearms and learning how to be safe around them and how they operate. Come on, man. That kind of work, and nobody's paying attention to that anywhere. I'm going to keep harping on that, because don't we have a right to expect more? Don't we have a right to see the stuff that's important championed, stood on our shoulders, like, you know, like they do with the concerts or something, and hold it up for everybody to see how awesome this is? Set them back down so that they're empowered and they know that they've got support if they decide to do that again. And then everybody in that crowd knows that that's an opportunity for them to figure out what their way to help is, or to contribute, or help, you know, get another project like that. It sounds like this year we did have that. I don't want to bitch, because we did have that. Lots of people that were at Rick's event have talked, at least the people I've listened to, have talked about emulating it in different states. And then I've heard some sort of, you know, oh, stay tuned for news or something. So we'll see. Something may have come out of this one, but I'd like to see the rest of the industry, culture, community, in you know, press paying attention to it, using the positive things we've got to leverage us forward, to stop the ability of the antis to use those people in the middle who think gun owners are violent or think that we're weird. Gun owners are normal. We need to champion the times we have, like this one, like Rick provided, and all those people that attended created an opportunity to show the normalization of guns and the normalizing. It is always in flux, so it's on a trend to be even more normal. This is not just a peak that we attained. This is a trajectory that we're on. All right, so then you got ammo land. At least there's a grandfather clause. They aren't going to take away my guns. They aren't going to take away your guns yet. So we got Rick Ector bringing together ladies, giving them a real awareness, real education, a taste, and literally giving them community, letting them create their own community. Like I say, there's ladies that show up to this thing that bring their friends back year after year. This is something that they do, just like they might do a bowling, or they might go horseback riding once a year or something. So we've got that kind of effort. And then you've got, you know, major venue for disseminating information, pandering, and playing. You know, are we just satisfied with laughing at the clowns? You know, maybe it's not barking dogs. Maybe they just send out clowns, and we waste all our freaking time and energy looking out the window, laughing at the clowns. Did you see the clown? Hey, did you see the clown? Did you see the clown? Because I saw the clown. How many times are we going to say that to each other year after year after year? Then you got Artac, posted a video about his Mac, also posted this on Instagram, so double dipping the promotion of the project. So every second matters is just about taking a pause on the second day of the month, so that when it's important and we all need to come together, trust me, when everybody's scared, they come together at every second matters. When everything's going our way, every second matters, right? So thanks to the people that keep it going, like Artac. And guess what? It doesn't have to be fancy lighting and fancy this and that and the other thing. He slapped a patch down, used it as his watermark, took a quick pic of this thing, and it accomplishes the task. Even more thank you for doing it and not just waiting until it's perfect, because then you could have done it better. This is a whole bunch of pictures that never got took this month because somebody was waiting for the right lighting or the perfect grip angle. Now we got Gun Owners America. I will rag about Gun Owners America any day of the week, because they do have one compromise that's blaring, and they act like they don't have any. However, they do things that are good. and they do things that are not good. So I'll give them kudos and I'll slap them every time they do something lame, like use this shitty graphic down here. This one says, if I had the ability to say that downtown would be a gun-free zone, I would do that tomorrow. So are they empowering and giving us more ammunition to have more effective conversations, or are they allowing us to point to a thing that we're upset about? Oh, a guy said a mean thing about guns. Oh, you don't like guns and you think that guns should be outlawed? Guess what? I know that a politician said a bad thing about guns. Does that change your mind? Oh, you think that I pick guns over some kid's safety? But guess what? A politician said a mean thing about guns that was incorrect. Does that change your mind? What the hell are we waiting for? Come on, man. So I'm unchecking this one. Like I say, I'll give them a thing whenever, but then some of these things, I only click on them so that we can bring them up. And I don't like the idea that a $12 million organization has to use default icons. Come on, you can't. Like, how long does it take you to draw a freaking gun that is decent and isn't stupid? And if you drew that gun, let's talk. Come on. I don't think they did, though. Battle patches. It's a place that makes patches. I'm pretty sure they're in Czechoslovakia or, yeah, Czechoslovakia, CZ. Look at this one. So most people don't think about forest fires. I mean, some people do, but people don't think about the forest fighters or the people that are fighting the fires. I just thought this one was cool to have something that's a focus on natural resource management. If we want to really have conversations about what matters, let's talk about cutting a fire line on the ridge of wilderness where we've dedicated lands where you can't drag equipment in, so that we can keep one resources that we have is the United States is our natural resources. Europe, one of the reasons they suck so bad is all their mountains go back and forth. And when the glaciers came in, all the glaciers wiped out all their hardwoods. All their hardwoods are gone. Then you add layers of castles and crap, and they killed all their hardwoods. We had some mining that killed a lot of hardwoods, and then just people being dumb, but we barely attacked our hardwoods. Canada has 5% of their original hardwoods because they wailed on it so hard, feeding the rest of the world's resources. One of the things that we still have left is our old world forests, and the whole world, the whole planet has squandered theirs, and people casually disregard that we have shared public lands and that we've got original hardwood forests and stuff. And it gets frustrating when people have conflicts about how to manage it, and people that know what they're doing and have good intentions, and yet we're going to complain about engineered problems when we have actual problems that are going ignored. And there's a reason, I'll just end it with, there's a reason that the sons of bitches want to keep burning down our woods when there's sabotage and shit like that, when they want to keep us fighting and stressed. Notice how often the fires are happening when we're all stressed out. They need to take a bunch of resources, literally resources away from us. They can burn down a forest. They know we're going to react. Those are valuable resources. There's so many ways that as individuals, we have so many people on this planet, so many people in this country that give a shit. If everybody went in and pulled out a stick, you know what I'm saying? Like intentionally, we could do things on a massive level. We have the internet to do that, right? Talk about using the internet for amazing things and all the drones and the GPSing and the database stuff we can do now. Like we can really monitor and keep track of a lot of stuff. Instead, we're going after the manufactured arguments that they create. Just throwing that out there because this patch is pretty neat. It would have been a little bit better if this was a little oranger, but otherwise. Tatiana Whitlock posted this. I just thought it was an interesting picture, honestly. Looks neat. This is a bunch of, are these blanks? Are these snap caps? Or are these training rounds? These I would consider training rounds. Blanks are for function testing and sometimes for drill, right? Blanks are going to look more like a bullet for images or for function, like I say, to do manual of arms drills or instructions, doing parades and stuff like that. You're going to use blanks. Blanks typically can go off, right? They can shoot a blank. Blanks may or may not have an actual projectile, but they do have a primer. Then you've got dummy rounds, which are just nothing. They're just usually solid, inert, And then you got snap caps, which are some kind of a mechanism to allow the firing pin to hit something, so that a firing pin that might be vulnerable or weak or something, like a 9mm firing pin, has something, a plunger it can hit. And then you've got training rounds, which are designed to be durable and emulate the dimensionality and weight of a actual live round without it being completely inert, And they often add a layer of visibility to them, either to differentiate between shooters or different drills or something, or just so that you can keep track for your own reasons. So these are an opportunity to chat about all that, and of course, stupid 9mm. So I'm pandering to the 9mm crowd. They'll see this and just click like. They can't even help it. Some chick who shoots is this girl. This one's interesting because I've been watching a bunch of girl channels, right? And they all do their own thing, their own way. Girls are all different, it turns out. So, as you go on, the way that they reach out to each other, the way that they're putting out their content, the direction of their creativity, right? That changes. This girl, she even says right here, has grown up in the industry. I remember how little representation women had. Guns, holsters, accessories, you name it. It was all designed for men. Nothing sexist about this. But factually, men just made up a large majority of the shooting sports. So, of course, manufacturers would cater to that demographic. But do you know what I love most about the firearms industry? It is consistently innovating. Personally, I noticed a shift in manufacturers making more women-friendly firearms and accessories about 5 years ago. This girl's like, I don't know how old she is, but that's when she's a little kid. And I'm talking holsters that aren't bulky and easier to conceal on the female body, firearms that are concealable but aren't pink and purple, range bags that aren't camo or leather, aftermarket accessories to make the shooting experience more enjoyable, and the list goes on. In 2020, so in 2020, 40% of the 8.4 million first-time gun owners were women. So 40% of 8 is something like 4 million new gun owners in 2020. In 21, 30% of the 5 million first-time gun owners are women. So 4 million in 20, and then we're talking 2 million in 21-ish. So that's 6 million new first-time gun owner females. Makes my heart so happy to see this. Women of all ages, backgrounds, colors, styles, and views are feeling empowered to purchase a firearm and receive training. So in order to connect, I started a Facebook group that last year called 2A Baddies. I coined the term 2A Baddies during branding meeting for my gun show. And I was asked what I wanted my audience. Oh, she must mean like gun show, like a podcast, I bet. Because I was thinking gun show. I was asked what I wanted my audience to feel like when watching my show. Okay, naturally, I said empowered. I want them to realize you don't have to fit in this box to like firearms. I want them to see that you can dress cute while being a badass and safely exercising their Second Amendment. And then it clicked. I want to build a group of 2A baddies. Gives me chills every time. This is a woman-only group, sorry boys, where you're free to ask questions you may not be comfortable asking anywhere else, give opinions, and post your newest accomplishment in our firearms journey. This reel is completely consisted of current 2A baddie members. Can't wait to have you. So I saw this first paragraph, and that's why I added it to this. But actually, now that I've read the whole thing, yeah, this is why I pay attention to Instagram. There's no way I'm going to follow this girl's YouTube. It's probably all for girls and it's all girly stuff or whatever. But you can just pay attention to a couple of different channels and have a pretty good idea of what's happening out there. This is competent. This is insightful. And this girl's parents own a big shooting range in Phoenix. So she's been around guns her whole life. So she's got a good insight. You can tell she wasn't just playing Barbies. She's probably at the range most of the time. So she's got a pretty good insight for being so young. This is back to Rick. This is somebody who's running for governor in Detroit. I forget, one of the shows I watched, they talked about who she is, but she's not running for governor in Detroit. It turns out you can run for governor of Michigan, but you can only run for mayor of Detroit. But she's running for the governor of the state of Michigan. Let's see. Rebecca Schmoy won the Tuesday primary elections for the state of Kansas. So in District 59, Rebecca Schmoy, who is a representative of the DC Project for Kansas and member of the 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control, won a primary. So it's pretty awesome. So this is somebody who decided to get into the game, obviously coming into the game with a focus on Second Amendment and the mindset of someone who's into the Second Amendment. Mike saying, I sometimes watch American Gun Chick. All different, all tough to understand. Oh, definitely. Yeah, girls are different from what I understand. And then it's cool to see the support that Rebecca got also. Hopefully that'll encourage more folks to run on a Second Amendment ticket or ballot. Let's see. So then more pics from Rick's event. Mainly I got that one because I don't think I had a picture of the front of the shop yet. And I've got a picture with the van parked pretty much where they're standing that keeps showing up. There's a video of the Daily Gun Show. I used it as a thumbnail for the Daily Gun Show. And for whatever reason, YouTube loves to show me that thumbnail all the time. So I figured I'd eventually put those two pictures next to each other, or two pictures like that next to each other. So there's a lot of pictures of people with Rick during his event this weekend. This is the one that I like most. So who knows who this is here? That's right. This is Rhonda Ezell from Chicago, who successfully took the city of Chicago to court, all the way to the Supreme Court twice and won. And nobody pays attention to that. In fact, she took that challenge that she took her, basically the Miller decision said that, hey, Chicago, the Heller decision applies to you. So Heller happened. Chicago was like, yeah, whatever. And then the Miller decision says, hey, Chicago, the Heller decision applies to you. And that's when Illinois was like, all right. But then they were like, oh, you can't have gun ranges here. So then Rhonda says, no, we can. And then takes Chicago to the Supreme Court, wins. Supreme Court says, you can have gun ranges there. They can have gun ranges there. And then the Chicago's like, oh, okay. And then they didn't let them. So Rhonda had to take them back to court, in 11 and in 17, I think. And won both times. And so that people would understand what it's like to fight this to the Supreme Court twice, she created Chicago Guns Matter. And I think that happened just before everything else is the matter. So, you know what I mean? Like, it was sort of like a lot of projects that use that concept of a 3-word thing. And I don't know if it got, I don't know. It does. It's also about how she fought and how she did grassroots in Chicago. So I think it's one of the biggest projects that we've got out there, examples of people being 2A, doing 2A, and then explaining and helping others to be 2A. And then at the same time, does anybody know who Rhonda Ezell is? Nobody ever even talks about her. She should be like Heller. She's alive. McDonald has passed, unfortunately. So Dick Heller's out there doing stuff. Rhonda Ezell should be running around, being held up on her shoulders as a champion. She's fought she's fought the city of Chicago to the Supreme Court for guns twice and won. And then she makes a website and encourages others to do it. She's awesome. So this is one of my favorite pictures. I didn't even know she was going to be there. Can you imagine being some lady who's like, or maybe some girl? This is probably how it went down. Some little girl was like, I want to like guns, but everybody won't let me because I'm a girl. And then she finally gets somebody to talk her in to let her go to, or she talks somebody into letting her go to the Rick Ector's thing. She goes to Rick Ector's thing. She sees all these other girls and she's like, oh, I wasn't alone. There are other girls that like guns and we're allowed to like guns. And then she goes in there and she's like, hey, Miss Ezell, I want to learn about guns. And then she learns all about guns from this lady. And then she's like, thanks, lady. And then later on, that little girl finds out that lady fought the Supreme Court and won twice. So that little girl's out there somewhere. Probably a whole bunch of little girls like that. So that's what we got coming. She does make Olight videos. No. And she's never shot a watermelon that I'm aware of. And never shot a pumpkin or shot a bunch of fry pans in a row. Then we got the obligational Brooke Cheney post or picture in there, proving that she was actually there. This is the other one I was looking for. These are the instructor picks, I think. So this was team 1 at Top Gun on Sunday. And then there's another one that would be at the other one, I think. This is Dragon Man's on Sunday. And why did I put this one in here? Maybe just to brag about Dragon Man having 100 people there. Yeah, just think about Dragon Man. Everybody's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Everything's so bad or everything's so good. Don't worry about it. And then you got Dragon Man over here. That whole place there that you just seen, that whole giant building is the museum. And you walk all the way through there for a couple of hours with 100 other people every Sunday, twice, and every Wednesday once. No, sorry, just every Friday, Wednesday, and Saturday. No, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Now I'll get it. It used to be 2 on Sunday. I guess you can't do that with 100 people. So now it's 3 days a week. 100 people are walking through Dragon Man's, not just experiencing that freaking amazing collection that's growing, but also realizing that that's the kind of stuff that can happen in the world, is that a human can create awesomeness, share it, and people can experience it, and the world goes on. And think about that engine churning and all those people going out and experiencing after having experienced Dragon Man. And then they're talking about their machine gun shoots coming up on September 17th. So if you're in the Colorado Springs area, Dragon Man does a big machine gun shoot at Dragon Man's. What's this?
We do what we call a civil rights violations hotline. So if you go to 2ahotline.com, you can report what your civil rights violation is, or if you're responding to a plaintiff request. We do monitor that frequently, and we look through. So if you bring up something that maybe isn't what we're actively looking for, but it has there is a public interest.
I think I posted this one mostly to be able to say, is it good that we got a ton of lawyers now? We got like celebrity lawyers, we got like activists, we got lobbyists, we've got researchers, we've got content creators. We've always had lawyers, but did anybody know who Alan Guro was? Like, there were lawyers, but now we got these like celebrity lawyers, spokesman lawyers, like lawyers with an attitude, lawyers with flavor, lawyers with, whatever. So lawyers competing with each other. Is that good or is that bad? So now you got Gunners America guy. I'm just leaving it there. Then we've got Wildcats, which is the shooting team at the University of Arizona here in Tucson. So the University of Arizona has a shooting team. A lot of schools have shooting teams. Don't forget about them when you're paying attention to stuff, when you're divvying out money to organizations that are worthy. Keep an effort and a focus on the Second Amendment, or not Second Amendment. Well, they do focus on Second Amendment, but on guns and on shooting sports at the universities is always a good thing. And in this case, I'm happy to have an opportunity to promote them. In this case, they're not necessarily going off to shoot. They are hosting an introduction to shooting event called First Shots. So this is an NSSF program for same kind of thing that some of the other things we've talked about here: introduction, orientation, and familiarization. I already say that. Anyway, introduction to guns. And then it says here, the biggest challenge for new shooters is getting started. This makes it easy and safe and recreational use of firearms. And they do this out at our county range where I used to volunteer at, and they get all kinds of help. Apex Tactical, CMMG, Glock. I don't know what Kinshot is. Leo is a manufacturer, small manufacturer here in Tucson. Midway, I don't know what Milo is. Somebody might. Overwatch Designs. Pima Shooting Sports is the range. Right on Written Optics. Ruger. Scholastic Action Shooting Program. So that's student shooting programs in the country. Taylor Freelance. I don't know what that is. Titman Arms. And then Volter. And then Thin Blue Gun Lube. True Blue Gun Lube. And then Volter is also here in Tucson. So that's awesome. So just putting the word out that support your local shooting teams at the, what's that called? The scholastic level. I think that's what they call it. Talking about ammo over at Easy Firearms Auctions. This Tuesday will be a big one. And this is another video where they go around just showing you just how much ammo there is there. What are these things? I just noticed. Oh, those are pinball games or something. So they got a whole bunch of different cases and crates of ammo. If anybody wants to take a look at anything, I will be heading up there before too long again, especially once they showed all these ammo cases. I really, really, really want to dig through some of these cases of, if they were 7.62 by 39, I am digging through them, period. But some of these other ones, even though they're not 7.62 by 39, I just want to get pictures of all the stenciling just to have, that's neat. That's like 12 or 15 different pictures on some of these piles. And then you get to see the differences between them. I don't know if anybody else is nerdy like that, but I dig that. And I can't afford to just buy them all. But I can go up there and take pictures of them. So if anybody sees anything at the Pot of Gold auctions that they might be interested in having pictures taken of, let me know. Let's see. So now we got Cape Gunworks. Oh, this was Cape Gunworks posting that they were featured in a Fox News article this week. So I think it was right before their Wednesday show. This article went live and basically talks about the demographics of the new gun owners in Massachusetts. And it explains what everybody kind of knows already, what some of those other things that the girls post just mentioned. So the fact that it's Fox, is Fox conservative? So it probably doesn't matter. But it was an article that wasn't crazy. And they interviewed Toby from Cape Gunworks and they didn't take him out of context to make it sound weird. So all things being said, I think it was a decent article attempting to make light of the direction that all these new gun sales are going in. Again, who's going to read it? I don't pay attention to that. I don't know. This was DJ winning or attempting to win the tactical quiz. I actually don't remember. I think Smeggy won the whole thing. Can't remember who won the whole thing. Somebody won the whole. Oh no, it was Barbecue and G23 won the whole thing, I think. But anyway, DJ did a valiant effort, posting as part of one of the physical challenges during the tactical quiz. Now I'll say this a lot. I know most of the channels you watch do some sort of gun game shows every week, and so you're used to a certain level of professionalism during the gun game shows that you watch every week. We're not always up to that level of professionalism. So we appreciate the people that participate in our gun game show every Wednesday. And thanks for DJ for putting out the extra effort and throwing a link out as part of the physical challenge. Oftentimes our gun game show requires physical feats of strength and stamina. In this case, agility and technique in order to post an Instagram post during the show. And DJ did that deftly, whatever that word is. Looks like you could go get a job at Pot of Gold Auctions. I figured I would help spread the word on that in case you happen to be in the Phoenix areas. You could be a jewelry lister or an antiques lister. So you would make lists of antiques or lists of jewelries, from what it sounds like. I'm not sure of the job, but it sounds like you would create a list. Maybe somebody that worked for the ATF could work there, and they're good at writing lists. Next is Prime Protection. This is a shop in St. Louis that helps out with the train and learn. So I follow them, and I thought this was cool because you often get pictures, especially money shots of a gun shop and maybe the front door or like something happening. But in this case, just showing this sticking the flag out in the morning, like getting ready for work type of thing, I thought it was cool because it gives you a great perspective on the shop, where it's at in the intersection. You know, if you're driving up on it, letting the robot Earth or whatever it's called tell you where the stuff is, and then just knowing where it is. Like, you know where it is now because you've seen the intersection, you've seen the area, you totally know what this shop is going to look like or what to be expecting, where that flag is on the road and that kind of stuff. And you know, there's Domino's next door. So I just thought this was a great side effect or extra benefit of the people that use their Instagrams. Plus, let you know that the shop is a friendly shop that gives a shit and isn't just like, you know, we're here, you owe us, pay me. You know, some shops are like that. Then we got Guns for Everyone, the group in Colorado Springs that offers free CCW classes all the time. And never ask for money about it. They get sponsored by a couple of people and just offer free CCW classes. What they do on the internet is talk about what they've accomplished and the things that are of interest to them. One of their other projects is to create an actual print newspaper. It's not huge, but it's pretty cool, and it's focused on 2A for sure. It's focused on 2A with a devil's advocate perspective, or the let's be concerned and aware, but not just complimentary, without any kind of justification, I guess. Keep in mind, this is a place in Colorado. Colorado is a whole different type of gun situation. They had their situation with the reaction to an atrocity there, right? A deliberate attack based on knowledge of trying to become infamous. And you've got the stigma that all Coloradoans put on themselves, so they feel like some extra obligation to virtue signal above and beyond, based off of this input from others who feed into that and tell them, yeah, you should do more because of what a couple of individuals did around you. So people in Colorado who are minding their own business, or people in Colorado who are gun owners, have to deal with these crazy group of people. I won't say crazy, but they act in crazy ways, reacting to things unexpectedly or out of proportion. So they're just kind of traumatized, I suspect is the word to use, or I'm going to say is the word to use, in the respect to they don't know what's coming. They don't know if they should expect and get the worst, or they were left alone and then started to be messed with, and it all happened pretty quick. And then they started smoking the marijuana right in the middle of all of it. So from what I understand, the Colorado mountains there, the Rocky Mountains, are a barrier for the wind. No wind can go up and over a mountain. So what happens is all those people are smoking the marijuanas. All that smoke accumulates at the bottom of the mountains. People in Nebraska, it's illegal there. It's illegal in Kansas. So the smoke isn't allowed to go over the border. It just accumulates like a pollution over the top of Colorado, and they're all getting the residue of that, the fallout from it. So they're just crazy. They just act irrationally there. But so some people would say that Guns for Everyone's newspaper is too, too much focused on the extreme parts of 2A and not just a fluff piece, for sure. I think that's refreshing and interesting. But he said that the circulation is growing, but in spite of some people not wanting it back again. So in other words, it's controversial enough that some of the distribution points didn't want to keep distributing it for free. So that gives you an idea that I don't think they're trying to be controversial, but maybe they are. I don't really talk to Edgar enough to know his position on this. I know he is controversial, but whether he's intending to be or if he's just presenting stuff and letting people be offended, it's, I guess, two different positions. Anyway, looking forward, I'd like to eventually get a subscription of these and they start doing them in the mail or whatever. He sent me a couple of the first ones. They're pretty neat. If you're interested in checking them out, I think I still have maybe one or two extras. But I think these potentially could be interesting additions to have. If it keeps going forever, think what they're going to be worth as collector's items. Green Beret Foundation, I always like to post when they're doing stuff. They were training with the 10th, who are the mountain forces. So, Berets do all kinds of stuff. And one of the ways you can accomplish that is just train with everybody. So they're training in the woods or in the mountains, I guess, to do something where you carry a sled around. And next to a helicopter, this is probably pretty tough considering wind is pushing all that stuff away from you and you're on skis. Or maybe, no, those look like skis. Anyway, kind of neat. And it looks like he's got some kind of bow and arrow or something, right? So I don't know what's going on. Something interesting's happening here. And then you've got this other one, which is, again, people will go, oh man, fighting in the winter is easy. And it's actually a pain in the ass. All right, then you get dude from Tucson here. And I don't know if this was for a reason or if he just found this thing, but just kind of neat. So if you think about our Delta Force guys, we're jumping with Spetsnaz dudes at least twice. So these were in kind of joint operations training. Let's show the world that we can work together type of things. So we live in that world where Delta Force and Spetsnaz did joint training. Let's see. This is gun policy saying about these two Republicans that sold everybody out doing the goofy like headshot things and offering their contact info, which I don't know. I don't like the way they're doing it, but they're doing it. So I don't see anybody else offering the contact info and repetitively urging people to take action, which is literally the main thing that these organizations are able to do. But I guess you can send people off on a spin about this. So, you know, you got that going on. So obviously I could care less about the constructed news that's designed to get us all pissed off at each other. But the fact that we got Gun Owners America taking time to send that at everybody, again, they could have spent time doing other things. They were at Rick Actor's event. Then just in case, let's get you more upset. Let's let you look it up, right? Not say, hey, here's a way to get past this and let's keep moving on. But instead, there'll be tyranny. So, all right, tyranny, go for it. Then you got Gabby. So this was Gabby talking to Chris, American Outdoor News. Let's go find out who that even is. So this might be somebody, might not be somebody. 435 followers. Outdoorsman, foodie, publisher, parent. American Outdoor News. So it sounds like it's a project. It may not have a big Instagram, but what does that mean? I mean, there's a billion people that don't have a big Instagram. So somebody who's doing some sort of an outdoor project, looks like a magazine, and then had Gabby on to chat about gun control and some unconstitutional actions. So we've got the DC project bringing these ladies together. They go to the representatives and they have meetings. The ladies experience, like they group up to 5 at a time. So they're experiencing their own representative and then 4 other representatives. They're also experiencing not just those interaction with those 4 representatives or their staff, I guess sometimes, but mostly the representatives, but they're also experiencing the this communication style and the point of view of those other 4 ladies that they're with from the DC project. Each time they go, I'm sure it's bonding, and they spend a lot of time waiting and running from office to office to accomplish the different appointments that they attempt to do together. Then the ladies get together and have group pictures and organize rallies in the grass out front of the thing, and all that takes time. You don't just get space or Star Trek morphed into or whatever, zapped into the place. You got to take forever to park and coordinate parking and get everybody to the place. So people are going to start to show up, and they're going to take, people might show up a half an hour early, and then everybody's there for a while. They accomplish what they're there to accomplish, and then they take a while before they disperse. So these ladies are experiencing each other and understanding each other and things because they're understanding and experiencing each other with a direction, with a drive. If somebody's weak on something or if somebody needs something, they're all comfortable with each other. They're all allies. They can say, hey, however girls say it, you suck at this, get with that guy who can do it better than you, learn how to do it, because that's how we would say it. But, they do whatever they're doing there. And then the ladies go out and disperse. And then what do they go hide in the closet? No, they're out there doing their thing individually, empowered, up trained, and aware of not just how each other do everything, but why each other has their positions. And now when they go on to these to represent themselves, their project, the ladies of the DC project, us as gun owners, and the United States gun owner as a person, as an individual, these ladies are able to enunciate themselves. They're able to communicate this stuff. They're able to articulate this stuff at levels that's never been done before. We live in the world where these ladies are changing the playing field. Every time one of these ladies goes out and knocks the socks off of somebody who thinks she's about to come in and tell me that I shouldn't be offering her a revolver, because they will do that every single time. Oh, that's all they're going to say. Well, they're going to say other stuff, and they're going to be impressed. Now this guy, who may or may not, I have no idea who he is, he may or may not understand how awesome Gabby Franco is, but after this interview, he's going to have a taste of how awesome Gabby Franco is. And now he's going to forever walk around knowing there's a Gabby Franco out there. She's literally one of the superstars. If all the DC Project ladies were the Super Friends, she's like Wonder Woman. Like, she's able to do it all on her own, but she lets her sisters help her. Like, she's one of the best ones of all of them. So this is cool, and it's an opportunity to talk about all of that being this is the example of all of that stuff that goes down. And then, of course, there's Diana giving her some support right off the bat, and then other people saying stuff, I guess. And that's the neat part about it, too. If you wanted to monitor this or try to get some kind of analytic on it or understand the dynamic of it, it exists. You can pay attention to the numbers. You can pay attention to the time it takes for the numbers to accumulate. You can pay attention to the comments that are happening. You can pay attention to who's commenting and from what realms of the community. Lots of stuff to know here. AI is load this stuff all the time. AI is an artificial intelligence. Not shit kidding around, but in real life, AI is super powerful tool. It allows you to say to a computer effectively, go find me this, and not have to know the code to go make that happen. It kind of is code that just can listen to you. So AI is some super powerful stuff. It takes big, expensive computers in 2022 to use it. Bloomberg is the 14th richest person on the planet. So we've got the power of a bunch of people understanding a bunch of different things and mastering the ability to chat with each other, even through all the hindrances and obstacles. The other side is not necessarily obligated to follow the same paths we've got. In fact, they're going to pay anything to walk around the struggles that we have. So seeing this kind of stuff happening is big time stuff. I'm not lightly focusing on this stuff that's happening. This is cool stuff that's happening right now. And it's frustrating as hell that a chunk of us are not paying attention to the massive strides we're making, though, that the girls are making while we're watching other stuff. Let's see. Thanks for that. Fox pretends to be conservative. I appreciate that. I won't remember, but I do depend on other people to keep track of that stuff for me. I figured because the article was so middle of the road, but it was almost anti. So I'm going to encourage you to check it out and see what I mean. It's almost anti. It was either trying to make the position anti and then, deny their own position, or they were trying to play devil's advocate, or they're literally just half anti. And that's happened before. Conservative people can be dumbass when it comes to guns, right? So if you want to check it out, feel free to check it out. It's towards the end. You'll see what I'm saying. It's like, it says something to the effect of like, what do you know? Even regular people like guns and not just criminals. It says something stupid like that. When somebody thinks the mask will come off, I don't know what that means. The Dree crew been lurking around doing some other stuff, right on. What's your opinion on Lauren Boebert? Is that the representative from the place where she brought a gun to Congress? I'm okay with that. I don't know anything about her, though. Wood spin. I don't know what that means. So next we get the Girl in a Gun Club doing some sort of, oh, dang it, they were at the Glock place training at Glock. So I've been doing this for a while. I've been to Glock twice, and I've never got let in. One time I just went in, and they stopped me from walking in any further, but I said, you know what, I'm just going to go in, because sometimes you can just go into places. You can't just go into Glock. I went into the front room where you can drop off a Glock if you're a regular person. That's as close as I've been to inside a Glock yet. And then one time we took a picture of the dog in front of Glock. But I never got invited into Glock. The closest thing I've ever done with Glock is when they gave us a bunch of stuff for Glocktober 2014. But I'm not on Glock's radar. So I'm jealous because I'd like to go into Glock. I have a lot of interest in seeing the Glock, what's it called? Like the Glock, what do they call it? The campus. That's what I'm going to call it. Because it's like a big group of buildings and stuff. So I'd like to get a tour and go be able to snoop around in there. But they went there for some kind of training, I guess. They're gloating about it. So 3 days of training at the Glock place. That's got to be interesting. I don't know if that's NSSF, or I mean, if that's GSSF training, the Glock Shooting Sports Federation, which is their own Glock shooting sports, or if it's their Glock and armorer type of instructor. There's Glock armorers, but there's Glock armorer instructors. They might have been taking that, or maybe it was a bunch of different levels. I don't know. Pretty neat. Looks like riding shotgun with Charlie went to some kind of glass pyramid. I don't know, sports? No, music. So he went to Cleveland, and I can't play this because it's the intro to some TV show, and I can't play it. But it talks about girls rocking. And then, so I mostly posted this because, Charlie's doing stuff, but also Charlie's using the up and down version with the fast forward and words. That's kind of like the TikTok stuff. So he's doing it. Be curious to hear from him how it's working for him. I talked to Charlie a while back about talking about newsletters. So maybe next week, I'll see if he's available next week. We might be chatting with Charlie about newslettering. And then at the same time, we can chat about his projects out there. This one is talking about, I don't know who this guy is. Does anybody know who this is? Should I know who this is? He seems like he's kind of familiar, but I don't know who he is. So I don't think he's a gun guy. But there's a Gun Freedom Radio talking about we shouldn't allow anything. They're commenting that it's not a coincidence. These are fishing expeditions that are, or it's not a coincidence that these fishing expeditions are happening now under a Biden administration with a Stephen Diddlebicker as the director of the ATF. And that's coming from AZCDL's thing. It's just that guy saying what I just said there. Here's Ozzy posting a thing with a couple of Gizzard stickers and snob patch. So he must have won something from Gizzard. Gizzard goes live every Friday evening and Sunday morning. So if you're interested in a long format, and a snob patch. Oh, pretend patriot. That kind of what it sounded like. Sounded like somebody who's just good at saying stuff, but he wasn't really aware of what he was saying or wasn't paying attention to what he was saying. So this is from the NSSF posting a thing from the ATF. And this is saying, so this, I guess, is two still images from somebody who broke into a gun shop and is walking away with just a bunch of gun boxes. So you break into a gun shop and you take the entire gun box. What's the first thing you do when you buy a gun? You take it out of the box and you throw the box away, or you never use the box again. What happens after you own, like, I don't know how many guns you people own, however many guns you own. I don't want to, when I say something like, when by the time you own 20 guns, and then people go, how the hell do you own 20 guns? So by the time you own some number of guns that is too many for you to have boxes laying around, you're going to eventually start swearing about the boxes. So imagine somebody owned 20 guns, especially people that buy brand new guns that come in boxes all the time. Unless they throw their boxes away, somewhere they've got like an entire closet full of gun boxes. It just happens. Like, no one ever talks about it. It's a dirty little secret of gun owners. But since every gun comes in a giant box, what are you going to do with those things, right? So it just made no sense to me. Like, these guys are idiots, first off, and then it's just stupid. Like, who the hell robs a place without even a plan and they're just walking away? So it's just frustrating, right? So that's annoying. But you don't keep them in the boxes. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems dumb. If I'm just saying, if you're going in to steal the stuff. You're not going to go steal jewelry and then be like, where's the box for this? And then put it back in the box to steal the whole thing. I mean, if you were trying to resell the thing, yes, because you're going to want it to look like you bought it. I just thought it was weird, I guess. I would think a criminal is going to steal the stuff and not a bunch of dumb boxes. But whatever. This is really, I'm posting it because I don't care about the crime. Criminals are dumb. That's their main job. But the idea that ATF is offering $5,000 and NSSF is offering $5,000 for a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest. A $10,000 reward. It just seems weird to me. So this is from the gun shop in El Centro, California. Let's go find out where this is. Between Friday and Tuesday, the hell, they closed all weekend and Monday? Between Friday and Tuesday. I don't like this kind of map. I gotta go get Google Map. I can't deal with that kind of map. All right, we'll put in the address. Oh, it's trying to go to Twitch TV. I guess it can't. So try this again with an actual address. It'll zoom us over to California. It's in the desert of California. Oh. Oh, this is in El Centro. Oh, okay. So I know where this is. This is pretty cool. I've been to that shop, maybe. No, I don't think I have, though. I've been to that town, look for gun shops. I almost went, no, did I go to this shop? Well, first off, gun shops in California are weird because they do have to lock all their guns up all the time to try to make this harder, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, if you look at California down here by Tucson, we can either drive over to California to San Diego, or we can drive up to Phoenix and drive to LA. So if we decide to drive to San Diego, there's no need to drive up to Phoenix. So we just drive up here and go across. And when you go across, you hit Yuma. That's the Marines and a bunch of dove hunting and a ton of trucks coming in from Mexico because the Colorado River blends out into the Gulf of California down here. Guess what deltas are? Regions of agriculture. So all this stuff gets grown right here. Like all half the food we're all eating right now probably is in California and this chunk of Mexico. So this is all about trucks coming out of here with food. So then you drive over here and it's desert. Oh, sorry. So you're driving into California and it gets weird. Right off the bat, it gets weird. And then you're in California driving parallel to the international border with Mexico. And it's weird because there's like a giant, they make a much bigger deal of their border than anybody else. So there's like fences and parallel. It's all weird. And there's nothing there. It's just all desert. And then you drive for like a long time. You feel like you're in Afghanistan or something. And then you hit El Centro, and that's, you know, a town, I guess. It's only a few exits. It makes it look kind of big here. And then you keep driving through real desert. This is the bad desert. This is where bad desert here. I don't like this desert. And then you come up in the mountains, and then you come back down, and you're in San Diego. So this is like a weird oasis south of the Salton Sea. At one time, it would have been underwater. Interesting. And it's really creepy farm area. And there's some really creepy stuff over here. So it's a really weird area. And this is a lake that was created intentionally, accidentally. And now it's a salt lake full of dead fish. And it's super creepy and weird. And you drive past here and it's all like abandoned and super weird. It's an interesting part of California for sure. So this gun shop ain't nowhere near nothing. Like you're hours and hours away from everything. Nothing about nothing is close to this gun shop. So this is definitely not your like, hey, let's go take these into LA. I mean, I guess somebody might drive for like 4 hours into LA with these guns. Where they might have gone is right here. But I don't know. So $10,000 to find out like what direction or which road they took into Mexico, it was going to make no sense. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting that NSSF is offering $5,000 and ATF is offering $5,000. Where'd that $5,000 ATF money come from? Taxes. Where did the NSSF $5,000 come from? Basically, the industry paying them. So markup on our products. It's just frustrating that we're paying $10,000 through some organizations to ask where some fucking criminals did their shit. And in California, they would say things like, how dare you say you can kill somebody for property or that you can shoot somebody over breaking into a place. Well, because sometimes they break in and steal things that are used to create havoc in the world. And you stop that by having a lethal consequence for attempting such a thing. Guess what? I don't think this is happening the same in certain places where there is a lethal consequence for such actions. But I get off on another topic. All right, so then where are we at? We're an hour and a half, I think, with real time. We're still good before anything goes live. We might be getting pretty close to the end. I thought this was going to be a fairly short one this week. I guess I might have rambled a little bit. Sometimes that happens. We're getting close. We're maybe the last 9. Stephen Holbrook, if you were a woman alone for the afternoon on a ranch in Montana in the 1890s and a stranger suddenly surprises you and gives you all the wrong vibes, what should you do? Nancy Elderson knew how to handle the situation. She recalled, I cooked him a dinner with my husband's six-shooter and belt buckled on under my apron. Oh, I cooked him a dinner with my husband's six-shooter on and belted under my apron, and for good measure, she later tucked a straight razor into the front of her corset. So in other words, she was still hospitable and friendly to the dude, but she was ready to create lethal consequences if he decided to get out of hand. That says, From A Bride Goes West. My daughter Lisa highly recommends this memoir by Nanny Elderson, a woman who started a little ranch in Montana with her new husband in 1882. The book is full of stories about ranching people and conflict with the land and Indians. It's a hard, dangerous, and yet exciting and rewarding time to be a pioneer out west. The photo says this is a lass dressed in the latest fashion for the late 19th century, that is, including her then high-tech Colt Lightning pump-action carbine. Pretty neat. There's lots of stuff out there, lots of stuff you can get interested in, lots of stuff you can research, right? And be aware that there's other people that are interested just as hard in things that you could care less about, right? This guy's pretty interesting. Everybody's seen the second picture. I'll post this picture first, though, and then I'll read this. Hard times don't last. Hard men do. John Duffy rose from sergeant to major. Sergeant to major. So from being a regular working dude to a major and officer. While serving special operations groups, including 5th Special Forces groups, that's Green Berets, he served 4 combat tours in Vietnam, where he often operated behind the enemy lines. In 1972, Duffy served as a special advisor with the Military Assistance Command, Vietnam, MACV, Team 162, known as the Red Hats. So these are guys that would go up in small groups and ally with the indigenous Vietnamese to resist the communist Chinese and Vietnamese that were coming down from the north. Basically going out, getting into fights, and then deciding what to do once they got into the fight. Because by getting into the fights, they kept the enemy from understanding where we were, because we were out actively engaging them and hunting them. By engaging and being able to resist and deal with the fight without getting scared all the time, they could gauge the size of the other side, and then when necessary, just lay waste to them or walk away and lay waste at another time. Amazing stuff. It's super neat. These guys are now talking about this stuff in a way that, trust me, has never been done before. These guys would have never talked about this stuff back in the day. The world just wasn't there. They didn't have other veterans, war veterans, that they could feel like comfortable talking about this stuff to. Feats are amazing. Duffy has been honored with 64 awards and decorations, 29 of which are for valor, including a Distinguished Service Cross, currently in the final stages of an upgrade, the Soldier's Medal, 4 Bronze Stars with Valor devices, 8 Purple Hearts, 7 Air Medals with Valor devices, 3 Army Commendation Medals with Valor devices, a Cross of Gallantry with Palms, Vietnam's highest award for valor, 2 Crosses of Gallantry with Silver Stars, 1 Presidential Unit Citation from the Navy, 3 Presidential Unit Citations from the Army, a Vietnam Cross of Gallantry with Palm, the Vietnam Valorous Service Medal for the unit, and the Combat Infantry Badge, Master Parachutist Wings, plus numerous other awards and services of merit. Following his military service, he was president of a publishing company and founder and president of an investment firm that was bought by Ameritrade. Duffy has been nominated for the Pulitzer Prize and has published 6 books of poetry. 2 of his poems were selected to be inscribed on monuments, and others appear in countless publications and anthologies. His latest book is The Battle for Charlie. And this is the picture. Well, this is him. There's another picture where Biden is creeping over him. It's horrible. This is the true dude. I'm going to take a second and talk about what we do on Saturday with Clover and Tony.
AskGunQuestions.com is a website that we built back in 2007. And since then, for the last 15 years, people have been able to ask questions of simple to advanced nature, and we attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions.
This is another one from GOA. They did this thing called Second Amendment Hunters. They were giving out some patches at SHOT Show, and I was curious what that's going to be, right? And here's some of what it's going to be, is some memes. So font down here. They want to demonize firearms and discourage as many Americans as possible from learning to use and enjoy firearms as protected under the Second Amendment. I want to like organizations at the national level that bring in tons of money. And there's worse ones. There's definitely the ones that are compromised for that make way more money than them and do nothing. So I'm not complaining about them, but come on, where are we going to allocate our $16 million? They can be used better. Come on. Let's not forget that the world is powered on coffee. So if you are drinking coffee, go for it. Never trust free peanut butter. That's a great point. As I mentioned before, that AZ Firearms has a bunch of different ammo. And this is when I'm talking about going in and taking pictures of the ammo cans. I'm a big fan of the stencil. I don't know why. I just think these are neat. They're kind of like signs. They're kind of like, you know, military surplus. They're kind of like, if you know what it is, you know what it is, and nobody else does. But it was also built to kill us, and we didn't kill each other. We instead talked about it, and most of the majority of the ammo built to kill us or defend against us killing them, which was never going to happen. A majority of this ammo is shot recreationally with smiles and laughs and giggles as people shoot these Cold War firearms into a hill recreationally. And people, we just need to express that better. But this is the first step. Your first step in understanding that you love ammo is to appreciate the boxes that the ammo comes in. Here's some SIG 380, kind of neat. And then, look at this. Does anybody even know what we're looking at here? This is belt-fed incendiary and armor piercing. Every 5 rounds is an incendiary armor piercing, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds is just regular armor piercing. So a belt of armor piercing incendiary 50 BMG would be for, would it be for an airplane, or would it be for a tripod mounted item? Would it be for a vehicle, or would it be for a boat? How can you tell if it's for a boat or not? Come on. You can tell if a revolver is made for competition or if a revolver is made for concealed carry in your pocket, but you can't tell if 50 BMG is made for a boat. I'm going to challenge you. I'm not going to just sit around platituding your exploits. Come on, man. Then we got this dude. This dude's super cool. Been a fan of his for a long time. One of the people that inspired me to participate in the internet, not just watch the freaking internet happen. Been doing stuff forever. I think what his deal is he worked for, or he works, I don't know if he's still working for him, but he worked for a TV station doing their news, and he would build sets or something. So he is a master builder. And he's the guy that built the giant AR and the giant AK-47 and the giant revolver and the giant 1911s that are occasionally popularized in memes. He makes them. He's the guy that built them in his shop. So he's done all kinds of interesting projects. He's a authentically interesting person who shares their stuff, and it's all focused on guns or the gun community and hunting and stuff. So I guess this is just him playing around with some ordnance. So I'm into ammo collecting. I appreciate ordnance, but I'm not about to collect ordnance. I may own this many things of ordnance, but I don't get it. So I don't know half the time if it's dummies or what we're looking at, but definitely something for way bigger guns than I'm used to, cannons or rockets or airplanes or something. But that's a 50 BMG looking like a little punk next to all this other ordnance. But it's just a neat pick, and I even told him so. I just think it's a great pick. Then we got Armed Women of America. They used to be called the Well-Armed Women. And these are ladies that have their own competitions, up-train each other, become advocates. And I just thought it's cool. I always show pictures of ladies doing different things. And here's some ladies, I guess, learning how to shoot around targets, like learn how to reach around cover and shoot, or shoot on the move. I don't know. Are valid. Snapshots show that we're just doing our stuff and enjoying our stuff. Doesn't all have to be some kind of instructional thing or some kind of prepped thing or whatever. And then also, I'm going to start saying, what's up with these pink targets? I don't know if I like this or not. There's a lot of pink targets now. I think I should be offended. This thing. So if you thought the NRA was on your side, or you thought they weren't, here you go.
And they want to appear like soldiers. Now those are single shots. If I wanted to fire this on full semi-automatic, all I do is keep firing. Now I won't probably hit the target when I do this, when we look at the target later on, but I'm going to fire about 5 shots.
First off, you know how old this is? Look at how old it is. It's that old. And that's the only time anybody ever said that. And that's the one guy that said it. I mean, everybody who says that is because of this one thing. And now here's NRA dragging that out of some rusty old dusty bullshit and putting it out there like if it has anything to do with today. Come on. This is obvious what's the word? It's garbage. This is the garbage that they could be offering. Come on. They got it's NRA. They're not in a position to be leader anymore, but they could definitely not pull this crap out. Then you got to look at how many people are going to react to it. 55,000 people. How many people never saw this before and think NRA just put this up for the first time? Right? So knowing that they can do this means that they knew they could do something else and chose to do this. This isn't an accident. They didn't just, do you think they discovered this for the first time? And if their social media person discovered this for the first time and thought it was current, come on, man. We can do better. Definitely do better. I don't bitch about the NRX. I don't need to. Enough people bitch at them for me, but I'm obviously not in lockstep with every stupid decision they make. This is Dragon Man being awesome.
Morning, guys. Dragon Man here. I'm in my machine shop, and this is where I am most of the day. I do motorcycle machine work, and I'm going to show you what I do over here in the machine shop. I've been doing this kind of work for over 55 years. Okay, so
a lot of people are like, Dragon Man's lucky, Dragon Man, blah, blah, blah. Except Dragon Man works his fucking ass off every single freaking day, except I think he takes Mondays off to fuck off. But holy moly. And this shop is epic. I've been in a lot of shops, and I've been in very few shops that have been that epic. I don't know about y'all. I mean, I appreciate a shop that's sloppy. My shop is sloppy. But a shop that is this epic deserves to be recorded, and they're doing it. Imagine if Dragon Man had all this stuff and he never even turned a camera on. Now, are you ready to sit down? Just sit right down. I know like 4 people like Dragon Man. I'm just saying. I know 4 people like Dragon Man, and they don't turn their cameras on. They won't let me turn their cameras on. You know what I'm saying? So there's other people out there. Dragon Man sharing it. You know what? You know people like Dragon Man, but you only get to see pieces of what they're doing. Let's see. So Pets for Vets, I mentioned them before. This is saying they had privilege in taking part of a great military event in DC this past week. Pets for Vets trainer and volunteer were able to talk to many veterans about the program, and some kind of a little squishy duck like what I just sent out to Woods, except with some kind of rain gear on. So that's pretty cool. Pens, and then it looks like they also have Pets for Vets t-shirts. I have a dog who would not be happy if I stuck a t-shirt on her. But if you got one of them dogs that don't have a bunch of fur on her, you might want to consider a Pets for Vets t-shirt. I didn't even know they had those. I'm assuming that supports them. Speaking of supporting, this is Ages Cleaning here. Ages Care Untitled. I got the so they're in Idaho, and this is their setup at the Southwest Idaho Business Alliance. So now let's talk about outreach, and let's talk about getting our industry normalized. So this is at a Southwest Idaho Business Alliance, which I'm guessing is businesses that come together from this town of the region of Southwest Idaho. And there you go. Aegis setting up. One, they went through all the effort of getting a setup, and two, they put it all together and brought it out here, and they're taking the time and dedicating some time to it. And hopefully they're going to make some money and get some reach out there. What are they going to be doing? Putting firearms cleaning kits into other businesses, I'm assuming, if this is a business to business type of thing. It's now guns are being normalized through the maintenance and safety and cleaning of them. They do a bunch of interesting stuff. They get material from somewhere. I'm pretty sure they don't spin all their nylon with their own looms and make their oils out of plants that they grow in the backyard. So they're purchasing products, and they're part of an industry, and they're letting that out there. So thanks to Aegis, they happen to be one that I'm paying attention to. But think about all the other holster makers, gun shops, Cerakoders, gunsmiths, hunting guides, people adjacent to our industry that depend on our industry are definitely part of our industry, but can also easily side saddle off or stride over into, I don't know what the words are, into other areas or other parts of industry to be our ambassadors and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was neat. Hopefully they had a good show. I think this was from this weekend. I'm a big fan of this range in Dallas, Fort Worth area. And they just poured out a bunch of 22, made it like an ASMR thing. I just thought that was pretty awesome. That's the sign of a good range. They're not trying to sell you something or prove a point all the damn time. They're just having fun with it to some extent. I think earlier someone said we were allowed to have fun at some point. So there's an example of it, an appropriate amount of fun for an appropriate amount of time. I didn't listen to this yet, but I'll bet you it's going to be good, because every time there's a chick on Combat Story, I change my mind a little bit more about females in combat roles. So I've changed my mind on females in combat roles because I've understood now more about the cultures of other countries and the usefulness of having a female hanging out with the entry teams, and the usefulness both tactically and intelligence-wise. Not to mention, I guess, whatever you want to call optics and just the hearts and minds. It's incredible what these chicks are able to do. And they're some of the hardest freaking girls I've ever heard of before. I've known hard girls in the Army before, so I know chicks can take it and do stuff that a lot of dudes don't even know can be done. But these ladies are like on a whole other freaking level. It's actually pretty impressive. So I haven't listened to this one. I'm assuming it's like it, but check it out. Yeah, anybody who wants to sell you a bill of goods about ladies in the military, ask them about what their option is for the females when they bust into a house in Afghanistan. Do they just slaughter the females when they bust into a house? Because it's not really the way it operates. It's not really the way we do things. So this is from Gun Policy, old ass meme, but they did it in a new way. Listen, we need a story about why we have a Second Amendment. And then they go, we shouldn't, or hunting. And then the guy gets kicked out for saying self-defense from all the threats, both foreign and domestic. So I don't know who needs to hear that, but at least it put it out in a way that wasn't weird, looking up somebody's nostril or looking at somebody's eyeball hair. Another one from AK-47 Shooter, that guy who posted the ordinance before. This is his wall of bayonets. And like a lot of people who's into zombie stuff, he has his own collection of weird zombie stuff. Notice the shovel with a bunch of rebar attached to it, welded to it. The bowling pin, kingpin, on the end of a stick. It is a bludgeon device. We've got the piece of saw blade on the end of an axe handle. And I don't know if you noticed the giant machete up there. That is, again, the guy who makes all the giant stuff. He made a giant machete at one point. I'll see if I can find it quickly. It was a while ago. Oh, he has a lot of toy guns in his collection. Thought this one was a pretty awesome homage to the Marines there. It's got a big giant 3D printed bullet. That's pretty cool. He also has an interesting way of displaying his ammo collection, if you'll notice. What would you call that? Like shallow shelves, but with plexiglass in front. So a little heavy, but interesting. He built that machete a long time ago, so I don't know if I'll be able to quickly scroll down. Oh, I didn't know they made They Live into a doll. I wonder if Matt knows about that. I've seen that post. He does stuff like this. He made this F-bomb. Here's his Glock, and that's a giant shotgun you see a lot. I am not seeing the giant bayonet, so I'm going to quit looking at some point. He posts a lot, and it was a while ago for sure. I made him a patch so that he's got the picture out there with him and the giant. Oops. Oh, he didn't take all the pictures, but I made him a patch so that it works with our AK to be him holding the giant AK. Yeah, I can be able to find it. This is when I first found him. He had put this up on the internet. This is his basement. He made this all out of pallet wood, free wood. That was pretty cool. All right. This is the problem with Instagram is you start getting down the, what do you call it? Down the rabbit hole, down the Instagram hole. I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to find it. I'm going to quit looking. So with that, we're ending it. Bam. That was the end. I'm pretty sure anyway. I'm going to go double check real quick in case I missed something super important that I'm forgetting. Oh, I am actually. So yeah, we have a couple more. Tony Simon has got another diversity shoot, the 2A4E diversity shoot coming up on August 11th. He is.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tony Simon from the Second is for Everyone podcast.
He has guaranteed us he will not swear a bunch of times during the shoot. So that is 6 to 9 in Woodland Park, New Jersey. Also, I thought this was interesting. One of the girls I follow is called How I Carry. She always does interesting little TikTok type of videos for girls that are into guns. And this one is a great illustration of the setback that can occur when you rechamber a round more than a couple of times. Nobody pays attention to this, or when they do, they bicker. And this is beyond the bicker. Let's just get out a pencil, set it on the table or whatever, and get this done with. So I appreciate the number of people, the type of people that we got out there, not just because, you know, they fill a slot in some kind of dang list, but because people of diverse backgrounds, experiences, and, you know, understanding are going to bring different ways of communicating to the mix. And that's all we've lacked. We've always been right. We've always been friendly and helpful to each other. It's just that we're not good at expressing it. We're not used to defending it ourselves that way because it hasn't been an example to us. But what we're seeing is more and more examples of, by effective, useful, normal communication between gun owners simply being, you know, shared so that others can see how normal and effective and friendly our conversations are a majority of the time. Then, you know, we move on and we get past the point where they can abuse us. So this is an example of that, I think. Just getting to the point, showing it quickly, looking at the gap there, and actually the gap on a couple others that probably got rechambered as well. People don't think about that stuff. And that's one of the potential issues we have with so many people coming to the mix. The line for, you know, how much you have to know to become an instructor changes and moves. So some of this stuff doesn't even get talked about because the person instructing doesn't know about it. So they don't know that they don't know. So awesome to see somebody quickly and effectively illustrating it. So in case you don't know, now you know. Then we've got the last one, I think, is this cool thing. So if you know anybody that wears a funny hat, this is just a cool 3D printed kind of epic skull for it. And then I just thought it was neat to see the Planet of the Apes dude in the background as well. So with that, that's from Soldier Systems. Thanks everybody for watching this one. I just noticed that I am hitting over the hour, which means that if we were to go to Instagram, to YouTube again, we would find that I'm corking a bunch of radio shows. So I'm going to be ending this. If you're listening to this as an audio, I do this for Instagram each Sunday. I do this for YouTube on Friday nights. And typically I'll do other platforms as well. If I saw a blog or if I saw something else out there, I'll include that on the Friday show. On this Sunday show, I'm pretty much just looking at Instagram and using that to rant and go off on some sidebars on some of the topics that Instagram brings up each week. So thanks again for joining us live. I guess I was heading over here so I could click on my subscriptions. Eye on the Target Radio is Amanda Suffolcool and her brother. You got Come and Talk It, which is about to hit as well. You've also got Gun Owners Radio, which will happen later on today. All three of those are radio shows that go live as they are they're streaming as they're recording the radio shows live. The Gun Owners Radio and Come and Talk It, the one out of California and the one out of Texas, those, as far as I know, are just in those regions. They just go out, broadcast to the stations that they're on as they broadcast, and then it's over. They do make podcasts and it goes out to the internet, but as far as terrestrial radio, they're single stations. Eye on the Target Radio, Amanda Suffolcool's project, is a syndicated radio show. So as it's being recorded and streamed out, broadcast, it's also being syndicated to multiple cities. And then throughout the week, people will get it on a syndication schedule, and it'll be distributed across the country and in more regions and stations than most other radio shows out there, except for just two that are focused on guns that I'm aware of. So three great projects tonight are happening pretty much as we speak here as I end this, and I encourage you to check them all out. Sometimes you can listen to two at the same time. If one is talking about something interesting, you turn the volume down on the other. If that's too much hassle, figure out which one you like better. The California one is interesting, and they get a lot of variety. They listen to the conversations on the live chat, but they usually have I've never seen any input to the actual radio show from the live conversation. The Eye on the Target Radio, on the other hand, if you've got something interesting to say, they'll often bring it up on the screen and include it in the show. So that's a more interactive type of participatory project. Then later on that, and then Come and Talk It, same way. They'll read the comments and occasionally they'll reply to them, but I've never seen them react to comments in the show. Then I guess I was also going to mention Locked and Loaded Latinos goes live on Sundays, and they're going live here in about an hour. Yeah, in about an hour. So these first shows will last for a couple hours. So then this one will start, and then Gun Owners Radio will start up. So it'll be fast and furious with Second Amendment focused conversation here for the next few hours. And then each weeknight at midnight, we go live with our daily gun show. It's a focus on different things each week. On Mondays, it's motivation and how to create Second Amendment content. And this Monday, we've got Sharon Hinchcliffe on again, S.A. Hinchcliffe, who is a very accomplished Second Amendment activist, very knowledgeable. We try to have her on a regular basis. This will be the second time that we're having her on just to talk about 2A, not any kind of specific news of the day or reaction to anything. I've invited a couple of other heavy hitters to see if they'd be interested in sharing a, I don't want to call it an interview seat, but just share a seat at the conversation with Sharon as we chat about 2A and getting content created in 2022. That's what we'll be doing tomorrow. Then throughout the week, we've got different topics each day. We have a lot of different stuff out there that creates content focused on the Second Amendment, and we try to keep a schedule of all that over at gunchannels.com. When you get there, there's a link at the top that says Cool 2A Projects. That'll take you to a bunch of links for organizations. And then the other one says something like members, and that'll give you a link to like a schedule of all the different live shows that we're aware of that focus on 2A. So with that, thanks everybody for showing up live. I don't think if I missed anybody, I apologize. My goal isn't to miss anybody. I don't know if I got MC showing up earlier. Foss, of course, does some live format shows on weekends and every Wednesday. So check that out if you like having conversations about the second overnight. Kingpin, of course, was out there. Mike White, Ron, I don't know if I said Ron again, and anybody else who might be showing up and watching in the future. We'll be back to pick you up later. GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
You were at all interested.
Tonight's episode, That Was No Lady.
So let us know what you think. We'll be watching the comments wherever you find the video, over on gunstreamer.com or on guntube.org. Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals of gunwebsites.com encourages you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com.